What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA Show with me, Huzaifa, and your boy, Justin Guitar Hero James. And we are back at it as the season, if you will, of the UFC and MMA starts back up again tomorrow, which is very exciting. I do want to talk about something that's been in the news, which is obviously affecting me quite acutely, which is, and that's also going to coincide with our first topic, which is I guess I should say, the Los Angeles wildfires. So if you guys don't know, I am located in Los Angeles myself. Luckily, I will say that where I live is okay, and I did not have to evacuate, but it is insanity. So, I mean, beyond insanity, if you guys are familiar, been following, I mean, there's like 8 different fires all over the LA area. The 2 biggest ones are, of course, the Palisades fire. What's up, Tehran? The Palisades fire, which I think now is down to, let's see, I think it's like 19,000 acres, but it is 8% contained, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's progress because it was 0% contained for a long time. Yeah, it's 20,000 acres now. What's up, Western? And then we have the other fire, the Eaton fire, which is the other big one. And this one is 14,000 acres. Oh, actually, it now says 3% contained. So that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's been at 0% contained for so long. So if you are also from LA or living in LA right now, you know that we're still in a bit of a state of panic. Not sure exactly what's going to, I mean, there's so many things to think about and so many things to consider. When are they going to be able to stop the fire soon? The winds are picking up. What's up, Celine? The winds are picking up again on Monday. Can they get it down to a reasonable level where the rest of the city is not at threat of catching fire and the fire spreading by Monday or some point afterwards? What's going to be the aftermath of all the destruction? I've heard some reports that there's $20 billion of destruction to the city. I've heard others that there's $57 billion of destruction. Just if you guys are unfamiliar with the Pacific Palisades, if you have not been to LA, that's arguably one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest area in Los Angeles. So there was a lot of very expensive homes and expensive real estate and shops and different locations and storefronts that were completely incinerated. I used to teach at a school called Seven Arrows in the Pacific Palisades. I taught there for 3 years. I was really close to a lot of people in that community, also alumni. I'm still close to people that are from that area. And the school is completely gone, which is insane. So yeah, it's been a lot to process, a lot to deal with. Just from my personal side, the warnings, everything kind of kicked up on Tuesday afternoon when I think the first fire began in the Palisades. And again, it's bananas that there's like literally 7 or 8 different fires all throughout LA. And I don't know if there's any connection to any of them yet, but I know they did make one arrest for suspected arson in one of these for one of these fires. Who knows what will happen? We've of course heard that there's the potential case of I have no idea what's going on, right? So I'm just throwing out things that have happened in the past. There's it could be random arsonists, could be criminal organizations, could be firefighter arson. That actually happens. There's about 100 cases of that documented per year, I believe, in the U.S., according to Wikipedia. So sometimes these are started by actual firefighters, which is insane. And not to talk negatively about firefighters, they've been doing a tremendous job. This is a small percentage of people who've gone off the grid and are acting in these devious ways. So, and we must thank the firefighters and everybody that is doing so much to protect LA and try and prevent further damage. I only throw this out there because this is where my mind is. Everything is going crazy right now. Just we're in a state of panic and almost a state of Armageddon if you look at some of the photos and the devastation that has occurred. But again, thankful, very, very thankful that I did not have to evacuate, number one. And number two, my property seems to be fine as of now. So we are grateful for that. But that is what's going on. I'm in the heart of it. It's crazy. If anybody else is from LA, let me know. Hope you are well and hope everything is okay. So Two Smelly Fingers says, same thing in Hawaii. Yeah, there was a recent crazy fires in Hawaii. Like a similar thing is happened there as well. I was talking to my friend about that, and I think they've made some substantial progress already in the short time since those fires in terms of rebuilding and redevelopment. So that gives me hope that whatever has happened to LA will be able to bounce back in some fashion. And I think it's getting so much national attention. I hope that will bring some positive resources and things to help rebuild and restructure everything. The last thing I will say is, actually, I'm not even going to talk about it. I don't even, let's see what happens. Let's just pray for everybody. And that is actually one of the good sides of the story is there's very, very few casualties. The last figure I heard is 10. That number may grow, but it's a relatively small amount. It's primarily a lot of property damage. One of the saddest things is that in some of these homes were not able to get insured. So some of these homes, I don't know what's going to happen. They might be complete losses, which is insane to even think about. Anyways, all right.
I got one thing to say about it, and that's it. You put me down a rabbit hole the other day when we were talking about it. I went on a rabbit hole the last couple nights and talk about a fumble by the Los Angeles Fire Department, man. And I watched a video last night, and they're talking about one of the ladies that is the fire chief. Big part of the LGBTQ community. And don't get me wrong, I support the LGBTQ community, but this, in the police department, in the fire department. You know what? I'm going to say it. Fuck diversity. You need to hire people that can do the job. And one of their biggest things was having a diverse fire department. They wanted, again, the LGBTQ. They wanted women, which I support. But you have to be able to do your job. And there has been so many blunders by this fire chief. It's insane. Not to mention, me and Huzefa, we have some deep conversations about conspiracy theories and this and that. There was, for one, a lot of the insurance companies are pulling back, and they're not going to insure these houses that have been paying insurance. That was one thing. And then there's another thing of, if maybe you've heard this, they're talking about making LA a quote unquote smart city. Have you heard this?
No, I'm not sure.
So look up Google Los Angeles smart city, and there's a conspiracy that the government has started these fires. There's a reason why the fire hydrants don't have any water in them, because what's the easiest way to rebuild is just to wipe everything out. And so if you guys are interested in these conspiracies, which I am, I'm not saying I believe them all, but I do think there's something to this, man. Why do these fire hydrants not have water? Why is the fire department more concerned about hiring, LGBTQ or men and women, that aren't just because of their sexual orientation or their gender? It's like, you need to hire people that can do their fucking job, man. And I tell you what, like I said, I went on a rabbit hole last night, and I talked to Jay Haram this morning, who works in LA. He's a movie star in LA. And he's telling me that it's just plain ridiculous that the ball was dropped so hard. With that being said, this could be an agenda, guys. Look it up. Los Angeles, smart city. It's pretty amazing stuff.
And look, and I'll just say on my side, I don't know. I don't know the answers to any of these questions. I've been watching a lot of the news. I'm trying not to watch too much of it because it's quite depressing, to be honest. But I see that there's blame being thrown at Newsom, at the mayor of Los Angeles. And by the way, when we talk about the police department and the fire department, I just want to make sure we're being, it's clear that we have full support for law enforcement. And these are more like the administrative decisions that may be happening above any, all these guys pay grade. But the people that are out there on the front lines, obviously, I've talked about this many times. I have the utmost respect for firefighters, but especially the police, that they've helped me tremendously in the last year. And I just want to put that out there. I hope we get to the bottom of what exactly happened. And I just don't know enough yet in terms of who's to blame and how this all unfolded and happened, but it's just such a tragedy. So I just hope that, like I said, I love this city. I've been in the city for 13 years now, coming up to 13 years on January 20th. So I love the city. I hope it bounced back. I believe it will bounce back. But yeah, that takes us into our first topic. Let's get into the mix of MMA and UFC stuff here. So and that's one of the things I've realized too, is I want to be productive right now and make content and do different things, because it's one way to get my mind off things, because there's just a lot of unknowns. We don't know what the heck is going on. And yeah, it can be overwhelming. So let's talk about UFC 311, because that is pertinent to what's been going on. Apparently there are talks that UFC 311 might be moved, and the reason why is, of course, UFC 311 next weekend is in Los Angeles. So I just wanted to talk to Justin about this. I've heard theories on both sides saying that it might be sticking around. Ariel Helwani mentioned today that UFC has not come out and made any public comments, but there have been apparently like discussions behind the scenes of whether or not to move the event, probably not cancel it. And then he also did make a point that what's the main stadium it's a T-Mobile Center in Vegas, right?
T-Mobile or Allegiant.
Yeah, so T-Mobile, I believe he said, it does not have an event booked for this Saturday. So there could be a chance that they may move. I doubt they would cancel this event, something this magnitude with this many big fights on it. I doubt they would cancel, but maybe they would move it, or maybe they'll move it to Anaheim. But I wanted to throw out some thoughts, and Justin wanted to hear your thoughts as well. Maybe if you've ever seen something like this before. I don't know, because I could see it going one of two ways. Number one, being in LA. Now, granted, it's in an area south of me, and that's going to be away from any of the fires and probably in a safe zone. So there's a couple of things I was like thinking about. Number one, because so many people have had to evacuate, I've heard figures of between 100 and 200,000 people have had to evacuate. They're probably taking up a lot of the hotels and the Airbnbs and things like that. So I could see them, or the city, wanting this event not to go down just because it's going to put too much pressure on lodging situations and whatnot. So that's one thing. But then I could see on the other side, this is a chance for the city to make money. Right. We need money right now, probably for rebuilding and to pay all of the forces that are coming in, the National Guard. So I could also see them wanting to keep the event, or maybe moving the event to Anaheim. So perhaps we could still get the benefit of the financial resources, maybe to keep help fighting the fight. Justin, what do you think, or what have you heard about UFC 311?
Yeah, I actually was reading this morning. Dana White came out and said the fire was about 20 miles away from the arena, and he has no intention on canceling or moving this fight as of now. Personally, I think it should get moved to Anaheim. I mean, there's too many things going on. Can you imagine living in Los Angeles? Can you imagine right now, if you had tickets to the show, would you be excited about going? Probably not. I think a lot of people are going to bail, and I mean, they want to stay at home. They want to, be safe. Now we put, let's say, I don't know, 50,000 people in this arena, and what happens if there's an evacuation fucking in the middle of the show? You know what I mean? And I'm not, and that might be a little far fetched, but in the all realms of possibility, I mean, the whole city is burning down, guys. If you guys look at the videos and the pictures, it is insane, man. And, I think the smart move would be to move to Anaheim, keep the money in California. It's not that far, and be safe. Yeah. The Rams are playing the Vikings this weekend, this weekend, and they've already moved. They're supposed to be in Los Angeles Rams. They're already moving to another field. I mean, I think it's just putting people even close, even 20 miles away, which, it sounds like, oh, it's 20 miles. It's like, it's really not that far, man. That's less than a marathon away. And these people, could be panicked. And, what if they have to evacuate? I think it just would be a big clusterfuck. I think they should just move it now to Anaheim or Las Vegas. I mean, Las Vegas, 4 hours away, not a huge move, and keep the show alive, because, I mean, by keeping it in LA, and I understand that LA wants to keep the money and this and that, but I think safety is more important, and I think the event should be moved.
I think Anaheim, to me, would make the most sense, only from the perspective of all the people that have like maybe purchased travel. And at least the one good thing you can say is that if you're flying to Anaheim, you're flying into LA and you're driving 45 minutes, whatever, from LAX to Anaheim. Maybe that's an option. Ariel Helwani did not mention Anaheim as being an option. I think he feels like maybe the next option might be Vegas. Hey, if it's Vegas, it's Vegas. That could also work as well. But yeah, I think, man, probably leaning in the direction that would make the most sense. I just don't know what are all the costs and logistics and sunk costs that the UFC would have to deal with on their side. Would this be a major financial devastating blow to them if they have to do a last minute change up? I don't know. But I guess we'll see. I do seriously think, regardless of what happens, I strongly believe that this event will not be canceled. There's too many people. This card is crazy. I want to go over, actually, let's go over this card really quickly, just to give you guys a full scope. If you haven't checked out this card, and why, at least I'm so excited about it. I know you're pretty excited about it too, Justin, here. Just look at this card. It's absolutely insane. Hold on one second. Okay, so if we look at the main card, of course, we have Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan. That's going to be such a good fight. A lot of people are predicting Islam, but that's going to be a very close fight. We got Merab versus Umar, also amazing. A little bit of drama and heat rolled into that one, plus a very interesting stylistic matchup. This fight is crazy. This could be a main event. Yuri Prochazka versus Jamal Hill. Now, if you guys saw the video I made about Yuri Prochazka, he did this incredible interview with the Michael Bisping podcast. And dude, Justin, did you see the video I made by chance? I don't know if you watched it.
Which one?
About Yuri Prochazka.
I don't think I did. I haven't seen that one.
So
last one I watched was about Colby.
Okay, so the Yuri one, really what it's about is highlighting just how unique of an individual Yuri is so cool. So Yuri talks about So they're asking about, hey man, I love when you talk so deep. Like Michael Bisping's like, man, you get so deep, it's amazing. It just makes you so interesting as a fighter. People just want to tune in. He stops him immediately. He's like, I don't care about being interesting. That's not why I do this. I am being honest. This is me. I don't care about money. I don't care about fame. I don't care about any of this. He says, fight. And I want to know if this resonates with you, because I just look at Yuri and I'm like, he's on a level that's different from any fighter in the UFC ever. He's like, fighting is not about any of this. Fighting is a true test to show who you are. It's the purest form where you're in your pure identity, and it's a test of how much courage and resilience you can show. Like, he literally just looks at this as like a spiritual test, and that's why he goes into it, and that's why he does it. And he looks at everything he does. I might be not capturing its entire essence, but it's like this spiritual journey for him to discover his true self. And then he also says that that's why it's such a captivating sport, because people get to witness this journey to find oneself and to find one's truest form. So I don't know if we lost you there, Justin, but does any of this resonate with you? Or, well, okay, I think we lost Justin. But anyways, that's a fight that I'm very, very excited about. Cannot wait. Tehran says they can do Phoenix too. Yeah, all right, let's keep looking through the rest of this fight card. We also have Beneil Dariush versus Nano Moicano. That's a crazy fight. Amazing fight. That one's going to be incredible. I think Hanato, just from the momentum that he has, he's going to get the slight edge, but that's going to be really cool. Justin, we lost you about the Yuri stuff, but anyways, we're just kind of going to move on. And then the last fight of the main event is, the last fight of the main card is Kevin Holland versus Heniel de Ritter. He's coming in. I can't remember if I don't think he's a kickboxer, but I saw an interview of this guy. This is a very interesting matchup. He's saying he's going to destroy Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland's always a fun fight, but this is only the main card. Now we look at the prelims. Johnny Walker. Who doesn't love to watch a Johnny Walker fight? Peyton Talbot. This guy is on a tear right now, undefeated, getting flash KOs, and such a cool personality. You even said you become a fan of his, against Hayoni Barsalos, who is 37. Interesting matchup. He's heavily favored in the odds. I don't think it's going to be as close as the odds are saying. Jailton Almeida, maybe not anybody's favorite fighter to watch. He's got a very slow pace and just goes straight to jiu-jitsu. Let's see how that one plays out. And let's see on the early prelims, any other big fight that sticks out to me. Ricky Tercios, that guy was on Ultimate Fighter. He's kind of an interesting guy. Anyways, the prelims and the main card, I think, are just solid and stacked. So that's going to be super, super fun. Okay. Moving on. Let's get into our next topic. I want to show you guys this too. Justin, did you see this? The UFC released the audio back and forth when Merab fought O'Malley, and he was complaining to Herb Dean about Tim Welch, basically talk. Do you see this? This is crazy.
Yeah, I've seen this. It's good.
Okay. So I want to see what Justin, we'll talk about your opinion hold on, I'm gonna rewind it here. Wait. Let me get this queued up properly. Okay, here we go, guys. Check this out. If you haven't seen it yet, this is crazy. And Tim Welch is somebody that we've seen a bunch at. You know Tim Welch. You've known him for like 3 years. I barely interacted with him. I was almost a little starstruck when I saw him and Sean O'Malley the first time at Fusion Fight League events. But he's a super nice guy, very respectful, and at least in our interactions. I don't know what you guys think about this, or Justin, what you think about this as a fighter, but check this out. This is what went down when Merab was going crazy.
Merab, you might need to be patient, bud.
Hey. Look, hey, stop. Time. Merab, don't start this. Do not talk to him. That's my job. He's talking to him. Herb, he's talking to him.
It's coming.
He's talking to him, Herb. Do your job, I'll do mine.
That's our call out, sir, for him. Merab,
I don't think that's true. Well, who knows? Maybe it is. But then he's like, yeah, that's our call out. Like they made he's saying, I think that they made a play for Sean that involves Merab's name. But I don't know, Justin, what do you think about this strategy and what Tim Welch says? Tim Welch, in his defense, he said this many times. He's like, dude, that's my best friend out there. That's my brother. I'll do anything I can to protect him, whether people want to call it this or that. I'm willing to go to any lengths because I want to make sure he's okay. Not only that he wins, but that he's safe. What is your thoughts on that?
Hey man, I respect him. I liked him a lot. We've had incredible interaction throughout the years. He's just trying to give his opponent, or he's just trying to give his fighter an edge. And I mean, if the referee doesn't say anything about it, is it breaking the rules? You know what I mean? The Herb's right there. I mean, eventually he does say something about it. But honestly, like, as a fighter, as an athlete, I'm going to break the rules until I'm disciplined. And, when he fought Aljamain Sterling, it was the same thing. He was calling for Aljo. He was calling Aljo, for the takedown and so on and so forth. The referee didn't say anything, and he got away with it. So it's just one of those things to where, until you're punished, why not keep doing it? And, even moving forward, he might still do it. Now I do think that, when he does go to fight, or Tim is going to be in the corner, I do think they're probably going to talk before the fight about it. But he's done it. He's done it for years. He's done it time and time again. Finally, he got busted, and he probably won't do it anymore. But I mean, it's just, hey man, it's combat, bro. Like, shit happens. We're always trying to get an edge we're always trying to get something, over our opponent, and it worked for him for a long time. And I don't think it's gonna work anymore though.
I believe what they eventually called it this time, like they didn't say anything about it before, but this time Herb made him stop and he called it excessive coaching. What's up, Lane? And they called it excessive coaching. So I don't think he'll be able to do it again. And you're right. I bet you when they have that rematch or when he fights Umar, I'm sure they're going to talk to him and maybe say, hey, that's no longer off limits. But yeah, you're right. And I guess we go back to that expression, all's fair in love and war, I suppose. So there you go. But I thought that was an interesting clip when they replayed it and somebody like pieced it together with the audio perfectly so you could really see in real time that interaction, because it was such a bizarre thing to see. That fight was so weird in so many ways, but that's what kicked off the entire weirdness of the fight. Merab, like, we didn't know what he was doing. He was flailing his arms. He was pointing to the corner. We didn't know what happened because you obviously couldn't hear Tim Welch during the fight, but that's what went down. And there you go. Check it out. If you guys haven't checked it out and want to watch that one more time, it's up on YouTube. MGal4 Productions, what's up? I saw MGal4 Productions in the chat on MMA Joey's chat. He's also an MMA Joey fan, just like me. Huge fan of MMA Joey. He's the man. We are trying to build our own show and do our own thing, but MMA Joey has given us so much guidance and support. He's awesome and really, really knows his stuff. I ranked his YouTube channel as my second favorite YouTube channel of 2024, right below MMA Guru. And again, MMA Guru and MMA Joey, both what they have in common is they're both extremely, extremely knowledgeable about the sport, and they say it how they believe. They're honest. They're open. Whether you agree or disagree, they kind of give it authentically and openly. All right. MGal4 Production says Justin Strickland getting that belt.
Yeah, I saw Sean this morning. He was there when I got to the gym, and when I left, he still was there grappling, man. This guy, he's putting in his time, and he's just walking through everyone. Guys, you don't understand. Sean Strickland can fucking grapple, man. This guy, he can grapple, he can wrestle, he can do it all. I know it doesn't seem like it because of his fighting style or because of how he fights, but if there's any grappling exchanges, Sean, do not sleep on Sean. He has a submission game. He has a wrestling game, and he doesn't need to use it right now.
So we're gonna talk more about this fight as we get closer to UFC 312. But I hate to say it this way because Dricus has won so many times where people have counted him out. But if you look at the two fighters and the way they fight, just from a pure technique standpoint, and I know it was a close fight last time, but I just feel like objectively you have to lean towards Strickland just slightly because of the stronger. Well, hold on. Am I? Do you think I'm not stating that correctly? That Dricus actually has bad technique just because he looks really unorthodox and kind of goofy, or is that a fair thing to say that his technique is not, I don't know, clean?
Unorthodox. His technique is unorthodox. You can't say someone has bad technique when they're the world champion beating everybody.
Right.
If he walked into the gym and he showed, I'd be like, oh, this guy doesn't have technique, but he beats everybody. So maybe his technique isn't bad. It's just unorthodox. It's not what we're used to seeing. It's not standard. It's not typical. It's wild. He looks gassed out immediately and he just doesn't gas. And that's the thing that really caught me off guard was watching him fight. I never thought he could beat Sean, but I'm like, man, he just looks so gassed. And I think Sean's really going to put the gas pedal on him and really take him into deep water. But I mean, hats off to Dricus, man. He's gained a fan through me, even though I want Sean to win. Sean's my teammate. Sean's my dude. But Dricus is his perseverance through all his fights, through when he's tired, through his just weird combos. He's entertaining to watch, and I'm looking forward to this fight. So I don't want to say his technique is bad because how can you say the best fighter in the world is bad? I'm not saying you, but I mean just in general. Unorthodox, yes. Funky, yes. You look at Ben Askren. All right, when it come to wrestling, they call him Funky Ben Askren. Although his UFC career didn't go great, this guy was an incredible college wrestler. He didn't have an incredible double leg. He had this incredible, they called it funk wrestling, and they still call it funk wrestling after him. It was unorthodox. His technique was weird, and I feel Dricus is the same way, but in MMA.
I also am a fan of Dricus. Actually, I love his brand of smack talk too. I think he's very underrated as a smack talker in the pressers and leading up and the things he says. And he's very subtle in the way he's very intelligent. You can tell he's very smart, but the way that he jabs at fighters verbally and gets under their skin, I think he's really, really good. So yeah, no, I'm interested. I guess I have heard a lot of UFC fighters say that from their take, from their stance. And again, you make a good point. How can you say this when he's the champ? But they say he doesn't look good, and it's just a matter more of figuring out his style because it's very different, but almost an account of his footwork, I guess, looking objectively a little clumsy, but again,
yes,
yeah,
I don't know. It does. No, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It does look clumsy, but it works, and like I said, from an MMA perspective, Dricus is Ben Askren in college wrestling. Ben Askren had an incredible college wrestling career. He won so many matches, NCAA champion. But when you look at his technique, it's not a technique that I can do or you can do. It's just the way he's built and his mindset. And again, I reiterate, I feel Dricus is the same way, but in MMA.
Yeah. All right. Fair. All right. Let's move on to the next topic. Will John Jones still fight Tom Aspinall? Now, I made another video yesterday. You guys can check it out. So first I made a video talking about Joe Rogan, and we talked about it on our show on Monday, that we thought that John Jones had asked for 30 million. We talked about, hey, how likely is it that Joe Rogan saying it is actually legitimate? We talked about that. Joe Rogan later came out and said, when I made that statement, that was 2 weeks prior to when it aired. And he's like, it was a legitimate rumor. I did actually hear somebody say that. But then he said Dana White specifically called me and said, that's not true. So I feel like I have to correct the record that he's not getting the 30 million. And in fact, when he was pressed further, he was talking to Theo Von on this clip. When pressed further, he said, what will he make to fight him? And Joe Rogan said, I don't know. Dana said he actually thinks he's going to retire. So now we're back into this weird position where at one point Dana White said the fight's 100% happening, and we know how it goes in the promotion game. 1 minute is 100%, 1 minute is not happening for various reasons. But in my video where I talked about it yesterday, I think something more is happening behind this back and forth. Why did he go out of his way and call Joe Rogan and basically ask Joe Rogan to essentially make this correction on the record? I think there's either a public negotiation going on. That's one possibility. And he's trying to maybe push public opinion or put pressure on John Jones to perhaps take a smaller amount. That's one option. Another option is he doesn't want to set the precedent of fighters getting such hefty paydays of 30 million. If he is getting something in that ballpark, maybe he wants to keep that on the DL. So other fighters, not saying fighters are going to come out and ask for 30 million, but they're definitely going to start asking for more money. I could see that precedent being set and that being a potential problem for the UFC. What are your thoughts, Justin?
What pisses me off about Dana White is, he has an incredible business model. He's built the UFC from the 90s. It's incredible. But pay your fucking fighters, man. Dana White he's a very, very proud Las Vegas gambler, and he posts videos all the time of him going to the casino and losing $5 million, $10 million playing fucking blackjack. And now he's going to say, oh, well, 30 million is too much. When he loses that 5 million or 10 million or whatever the amount is, that's out of his own pocket. Now we look at the UFC as a whole. Dana's only one person in the UFC. $30 million is not a lot to this probably a multi-billion-dollar company by now, you think?
Yeah, it is a multi-billion-dollar company for sure.
And you can't pay 30 million to the greatest of all time. Like, give me a break, dude. Like, personally, he goes to the casino and brags about all millions and millions of the money he loses, in blackjack, and now you can't pay your fighters. Come on, Dana. Like, be better.
He might. Well, that's the thing. One possibility is that he might still be paying him that amount. He just doesn't want it to be public.
Sure.
But my only
the problem is it has to be public. Fighter pay is public knowledge. It has to be public.
I think it's what Dana has said in the past. Maybe you're right, but I don't know. But Dana has said in the past that there's no barriers to blocking the pay of like not letting people know. But he said it's up to the fighters. So if fighters want to talk about it, they can. If they don't want to talk about it, they don't have to. Now I don't know. Now that it's a public company, do they have to disclose it? I don't know. Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Or maybe he doesn't want it to be publicized just yet. I don't know. But you make a good point. The only thing I'll say on the side of UFC fighter pay, and this is just something that I want to bear in mind, and I do plan to do a deep dive into this subject at some point. But the one thing I want everybody to keep in mind, or at least I try to keep in mind, is that the UFC is not the NFL, meaning we look at organizations like the NFL, or we look at like worldwide soccer organizations, or even the NBA. These are organizations that have grown over time and are fairly established. I guarantee you that their marketing budget and their advertisement budgets are a fraction, I would imagine, are a fraction of the UFC's. The reason why is because I don't think they're really trying to now spend that much money to get into new markets or build children programs where they're getting kids into basketball. That's already established. That's ingrained in so many cultures. So kids grow up playing these sports and they want to watch it at a professional level. And I think that keeps fueling these other sports. Whereas mixed martial arts doesn't have that. It's not even an Olympic sport yet. I think it will be soon. But I think they're trying to push all these agendas to keep building the fan base up, because I think there's a tremendous amount of room for growth still. So we have to bear that in mind. And when we look at and again, this is just my theory. This is just my thoughts, but I'm trying to think about it as if it were my business. So there is a possibility that a lot of these funds are being diverted for those efforts for the future of the sport. So people like Austin Bashi or other up-and-coming fighters one day may reap the benefits of this and may get more than NBA stars or NFL stars. I could see that, and I hope that happens. Anyways, just food for thought that I wanted to throw out there. I mean, do you think there's any truth to what I'm saying? Have you heard anybody talk about this in terms of the discrepancies perhaps between the marketing budgets of these different organizations?
No, I haven't heard anybody talk about that. All I ever hear people talk about is all the money the UFC makes, and they're not paying their fighters enough, man. And after being in the business, after being a part of the company, after seeing what the UFC has, especially in assets, you go to the UFC PI, you go to Apex, it's all top of the line stuff. They're spending millions and millions and millions. Shit, they've already redone the PI. The PI it's not that old, and they've already redone the inside of it. Like, I mean, I understand, having a great facility and this and that, but I think we got to take care of our fighters, especially guys like John Jones, who's been around since 2007. Pay the guy his money. He deserves it.
Yeah, sure. And obviously, of course, I'm advocating for the same thing. I want the fighters to get paid exactly what they're worth. I guess I'm just throwing out there that there may be reasons why they can't just say, hey, we're going to pay 50 million, 100 million, sort of matching these boxing rates, because as Dana White has said, whether it's true or not, that boxing is not interested in propelling the organization and the sport. It's always a fire sale. They're always like, hey, we're going to throw a bunch of money at these fighters and just try and make this singular event profitable, where the USC is thinking about the brand and the long-term vision of not only the organization, but also the fighters. I do think that at the end of the day, the fighters will rise up in the future as the sport, in my opinion, becomes the most popular sport in the world. But we shall see if that comes to fruition. But that's just something I think that they have to take into consideration when figuring out how much they can allot for fighter pay. But anyways, okay, moving on. I've heard other YouTubers in the MMA space talk about this fight, and I think you probably agree. But dude, the best fight of this weekend, which is not the main event, it's not the co-main event, it is on the main card, I think it's Chris Curtis versus Roman Kopylov. I mean, what other fight here? I'm going to pull up the main card. Although I'm super excited to see Austin Bashi make his debut, since he's from Michigan, and more importantly, he's from West Bloomfield, which is an area that I'm from. But I mean, what other fight on this card is more exciting than this fight?
I can't really see. It's too small.
Oh, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so we got Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribon.
Oh, hell yeah. Mackenzie Dern. Anytime she gets in the cage, I'm watching. Oof, I got my own reasons.
Well, she also started training again with, what was Michael Bisping's coach? Perillo, Jason Perillo. She started training with Jason Perillo after taking a hiatus from him. So I think we're expecting to see a much improved striking game. That is actually exciting. I do want to see that fight, I will say. But of the rest of the fights, I mean, is any other fight, do you think, going to be as fun and as interesting as Chris Curtis versus Roman Kopylov?
No, absolutely not. I'll be honest. The only names I know on the card are Chris, Austin, and Mackenzie Dern. I don't know any of these other guys.
Christian Rodriguez is the guy that beat, what's his name, Raul Rosas Jr. Actually, I saw that fight with you in Vegas. Remember? That was his first loss in the UFC.
So he beat Raul Rosa and Austin. Man, what a step up. What a great fight. What a great opportunity for Austin Bashi.
Yeah, I know. It's like, dude, it's crazy, man. The UFC is not like, I think Austin Bashi could be a star. He could be a champ. Look at this, undefeated.
Oh, Puna's on the card. Whoa. Puna's on the card.
Is that your
Let's
boy?
go. Puna Soriano, dude. He works at Extreme Couture. He works the front desk at Extreme Couture. He was a middleweight. He just went down to welterweight. Let me tell you about Puna. Puna is one of the nicest and most humble guys you could ever meet. He's a goofball in the gym, in practice. He's a goofball behind the desk. Guys, if you don't know who Puna Soriano is, dude, he is one of the best guys I've ever met. I see him every single day. The guy works his ass off. He was a college wrestler. My teammate wrestled him in college. This guy is so cool and so much fun. Dude, I can't say enough about the guy. We talk about Sean Strickland. I'm teammates with Sean. You probably won't catch me going to a bar with Sean Strickland drinking beer because I'll probably get shot or killed or get in a fight. But Puna, on the other hand, this guy, he doesn't trash talk. He's always happy. He's always smiling. He's always having fun. And I tell you what, when he fights, he is an explosive knockout artist. I tell you what, this might take the cake here. This might be the fight. I thought, but when I'm reading these, Chris Curtis, I'm super excited about that fight. But watching Puna go down to welterweight is gonna be insane. This guy is a monster of a man. He's as wide as a truck. Guys, if you don't know who Puna Soriano is, tune into this guy. He's all action from the beginning of the bell to the end of the third period. That fight I am really looking forward to, and I'm pretty sure he has his back against the wall. I know he went on a little skid at middleweight. That's why he moved down to welterweight. So I'm really excited to see how he does and performs, knowing his job could be on the line.
Well, speaking of that, he is coming off a win, so that's great. But he has lost 4 of his last 6. So I'm sure that's going to be a tough one. Also, interesting fact, 3 fights ago, he fought Roman Kopylov. Actually, I think multiple people, I heard Chris Curtis say this, multiple people from Extreme Couture have fought Roman Kopylov, a.k.a. the Russian Chase Hooper. So that's kind of interesting. But by the way, I was watching some footage of Roman Kopylov. He's a pretty fun fighter. But
Did Roman beat Puna?
Yeah, he did. But, dude, I just don't see the again, I was watching his most recent fight. I just don't see. I feel like Chris is such a way more powerful striker than Roman Kopylov. And in the bit of the fight that I saw, it was pretty much on the feet. So I imagine if they keep it on the feet, I think Chris is going to have a massive power advantage. But I guess we'll see what happens. But the point is, if you haven't seen one of Chris Curtis's fights recently, he's a really, really, really fun fighter to watch. He had that one fight that you brought up the other day against Hermanson. That was a weird fight because Hermanson just wouldn't engage. But you said the reason why he wouldn't probably was because he felt the power of Chris Curtis and didn't want to have anything to do with that. All right, we got a couple comments. Hold on, let me jump through this. Oh, Tehran says he has family in Detroit too.
Let's go, Detroit Lions, NFC North champions,
Oh, yeah.
NFC first seed. Dan Campbell's my guy. Let's fucking go, Tehran.
Okay, wait, we got another comment. Hold on. I have a low-key weirdest feeling that Merab is going to finish Umar. I mean, Justin, you're boys with Merab, or you like Merab a lot, I should say.
Yeah.
Are you feeling that?
Dude, I never go against extreme guys, man. We have such good coaching, and we have such a good team. We have such good training partners, but Umar does too, man. And here's the thing, Merab doesn't finish anybody, and I don't see him finishing Umar. I mean, I'm hoping what I think how Merab's way to win this fight is to take Umar down. Umar's not good. He's going to get up. He's not going to be held down. And Merab's just going to have to keep taking him down over and over and over. I don't see where he can finish him. He's not going to knock him out on his feet. He's not going to submit him. He's not going to pound him out. Real shit 3-4-5, man. I love the prediction. I really hope you're right, man. Hopefully you had like an epiphany or a dream, or maybe you took some hallucinogens and you saw it, foreshadow. I hope you're right. I just don't see it happening. I see Merab winning a gritty decision.
I will tell you from my perspective, again, I don't know Merab, and he is a fun guy to listen to in interviews. But, dude, when I listen to Umar, the confidence that comes from him, there's just no cap to it. He's like Khabib, man, the way he talks. Just pure, honest, truth teller. And he's like, I don't see how he can beat me. There's nowhere he can beat me. And we do know Umar is extremely talented. He did an amazing job against Corey Sandhagen. That was a very impressive win. Man, I don't know. I'm feeling like Umar's going to get it done. But I guess we'll see. It's a fascinating fight. It is a very, very fascinating fight because it could go that way. Merab could be so dominant and so aggressive and have so much resilience and just keep taking him down that maybe he does go to decision like that. I don't know. So it's a very interesting fight. And because of the beef that's kind of been brewing between the two of them, Merab's fun, man. He gets hyped and he gets mad, and And that adds to the interest and intrigue of the fight. So props to Merab. Whatever you want to say about him or whoever you're favoring in this fight, I think there's a lot of anticipation for this fight. Let's go through a couple more comments. We're about to talk about JDM versus Leon in a second. So we're going to get to that. Jack will KO Leon. That's an interesting take. I want to know Justin's take in a second. I don't know. I'm not sure I agree. Niles Michigan in the house.
Shit. I
What's
banged
up?
some girls from Niles. Let's go.
And then M Gal Productions says Puna is the man. So also a fan of Puna. M Gal Productions also says love Curtis. Heck yeah, let's go. I did not hear about this. Tehran always fills me into things that I thought I'm like on top of the sport and watching everything. I did not hear that Diego Lopez versus Yair Rodriguez is in the works. What are my thoughts? Well, my first thought, obviously, is I thought Diego Lopez was probably going to get the next title shot. So I wonder why that's happening, but maybe there is some truth to Ilia Topuria trying to move up or do something different. I don't know. Maybe he is actually, if he goes up to fight Charles Oliveira, that's incredible. I think that's incredible. I just think he should I don't know. Maybe he should vacate the belt. Maybe not yet. But what do I think about it outside of the fact that I was assuming Diego Lopez will get the title shot? Yo, that's a banger of a fight. I love Yair Rodriguez. What do you think?
I'm a Diego Lopez fan. After beating Dan Ige, my teammate, I know how tough Dan is. After beating Gavin Tucker, in the first round by submission, Gavin being a very, very high level black belt, man, I'm taking Diego Lopez.
And he beat Brian Ortega too. Don't forget, that was a crazy victory at the Sphere. Yeah, Diego Lopez is terrifying. His fight style is incredible. It's one of my favorite to watch. But also Yair Rodriguez is incredible to watch with his insane kicks. He's got such a unique style. By the way, there's somebody on the Fusion fight card next week that said their style is similar to Yair Rodriguez. So I can't wait to see that fighter fight. I put that in my notes. That's going to be really cool.
Who is it?
I can't remember. Here, I'll tell you. Give me 2 seconds.
Man, I'll be honest. I hate when guys compare themselves to like world champion. Like, I fight like this guy. No, you don't. Shut up.
Or he said he tries to emulate that style. Wait, hold on.
I'm just talking shit.
Wait, I'll tell you who it was if I can find the. Oh, nope. This is an old document. I can't find it right off the bat. But anyway,
right. Don't worry about it.
I'll figure it out and I'll find it off screen. Okay, real quick. Umar is really good at every aspect of MMA. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. It's going to be crazy. Wait, what? Is this real or is this speculation? Oh, that makes sense. Volkanovski versus Ilia, the rematch. Yeah, that makes sense. In Miami. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it, but somehow you guys always seem to be between you, MGAL Productions, and Tehran, unless you're just speculating. I feel like you guys are always on it with these speculations or predictions. So I believe it, but I guess we'll see. Okay, moving on to our final topic. Looking ahead to Leon Edwards versus JDM. This is such a cool fight. This is happening in UFC London, or this is what people are saying. This is speculation. Hold on. And UFC London is happening on March 22nd, so it's not that far away. Now, people were theorizing at one point that JDM was going to fight Kamaru Usman, but as I've said, and as Kamaru said multiple times on the show, he is still dealing with an injury, so he's still trying to recover from that. But this is a great fight. And again, JDM, one of the best boxers in the welterweight division, taking on Leon Edwards. Somebody in the chat said that they think JDM's going to get it done. I don't know. My first instinct, just my first total thought, is that Leon's gonna pull it off. But Justin, what do you think about this matchup, and what are your takeaways?
Really, well, the takeaways is Leon lost the title. You know what I mean? And bouncing back after being the champion, after getting some reigns, where is his head at? Is he really motivated to become the champ again? Because, getting there is tough. Holding it there is even tougher. But losing it and getting it back is very, very tough, man. And JDM's going to come in focused, driven. He knows this is his opportunity. He beats Leon Edwards. There's a chance for a title shot. So really, when you're talking about the best fighters in the world, and obviously these guys are two of the best in the world, there's only their technique is only separated by inches. I really think, and it's been a proven fact, that, the mentality of who's focused, who's determined is what going to separate. They did a study with tennis players, like the top 5 best tennis players in the world compared to the top 25. Their techniques were all very similar. It's who had the positive affirmation to themselves and who was confident going into the fight is what really separates that. So, we'll have to see where Leon's head's at. And JDM's going to be focused. He knows he's only 1 or 2 more fights away from a title fight. Leon's already been there and done that. Is he there for a payday, or does he really want to be the champ again? And that's what the fight's going to come down to.
Wait, you know what's insane about JDM? He is on a 17-fight winning streak. Not in the UFC, but still.
But in general, wow.
that's insane. Wait, and then since the Contender series victory, he's won the last 7 in a row. But if you include Dana White's Contender series, he's got an 8-0 win streak in the UFC. I don't know if you count that as but at least a 7-0 win streak in the UFC. Jeez, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
But I don't know. I just feel like JDM, correct me if I'm wrong, but one thing that's baller about JDM is he was calling out Shavkat, which is amazing. But JDM is said to have some of the best boxing. But then you just look at Leon. I just feel like Leon is a more complete, well-rounded striker. So if this is a striking match, that's why I'm leaning towards that. But I'd obviously have to dig in deeper. But that's a good point. Great fight, though. Can't wait for this matchup. I think it's going to be very interesting. So I guess we shall see. But anyways, that's it, guys. That's it for our show. By the way, we are working on merch. We were supposed to have it ready to go today. Somehow we got flagged and the merch that I designed all got suspended. And I was like, wait a minute, the reason why is for copyright infringement. I'm like, we're using our own trademarks. So I had to reach out to the support staff. Hopefully they'll be up soon, but it's super cool. If you guys do want to check out our merch, hopefully it should be back up by tomorrow. But I made a tank top with our logo on it. I made another mug with the logo on it, and I made a shirt with Justin's face on it that says Justin James Guitar Hero. By the way, Justin, I never asked you this. Where'd your name Guitar Hero come from?
I was a dare in college. I was doing, funny walkouts. I was big on Guitar Hero in college. My buddy's like, dude, it was Darren Kirkshank, another UFC vet, was my college roommate. And he's like, dude, like you should put the guitar around you. And when TNT plays, like act like you're playing it all the way down. And I did it a couple times and everybody loved it. And remember early in my career, I had a really boring style. I just take guys down and look for rear naked chokes. I needed to find ways to get guys excited to watch me fight. And there were several times, even recently, guys not even knowing I was in the UFC, like, aren't you the guy that used to walk out with his guitar? And I'm like, hell yeah. So even now it's a great idea and it sticks to. And then I didn't use it for almost 10 years. And then when I was making my UFC debut, Bruce Buffer announced me as the Guitar Hero. And I was like, holy shit, I haven't heard that in almost 10 years. And the UFC called and asked me to keep it. So I did.
Dude, if you got a photo of yourself rocking the guitar, doing the walkout, send it to me. I'll turn it into a shirt.
I do.
Yeah. Send it. And as long as we have to own the rights to it, because I don't want these guys to pull it one more time. But that's actually a dope shirt. Anyways, so check out our merch store. We're growing, people. Thank you for the support. Thank you for joining along. We'll be back on Monday. Can't wait to see. I'm saying Austin Bashi gets it done 100%. If I could bet on this, if I was in a state that allowed betting, I would bet for sure. I believe.
Just call me. I'll book your bets.
All right, let's see what happens. Check out UFC Fight Night. Obviously, you're rooting for Mackenzie Dern, so let's see what goes down there, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you so much, and take it easy.